Hello and welcome to Intense Thought. In today's video, I'm going to share with you why it seems very probable that Jesus was born on September the 11th in 2 BC. And to start that off, we are going to look here at what the Bible tells us and compare it with the star charts. Genesis 1:14 says, "And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, for seasons, for days, and for years." So the Bible itself tells us that if you are looking for times and seasons and days, you can look at the lights in the firmament of heaven, the stars. Revelation 12 verse 1 says, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven. A woman was clothed with the sun. The moon was under her feet, and upon her head was a crown of 12 stars." And so we can look here at the constellations. Let us find this example. We can see that this here is an example, a picture of Virgo the Virgin, and this is Leo the Lion. Jesus is known as the Lion of the tribe of Judah, and we know that he is said in the Bible to have a virgin birth. So Virgo and Leo are connected to each other. If we look here on a typical zodiac chart, we will see likewise that the actual stars, show us Leo and Virgo. Now, let us look at a free software called Astrolog, and it will show us the position in the sky of Leo and Virgo on September the 11th in 2 BC. A number of very interesting things come to this, and let us compare this with what the Bible says. Revelation 12 verses 1. "There was a great wonder in heaven, a woman," Virgo. This is Virgo here, this little M shape with what looks like a wine glass, M with a wine glass. And then you've got this lion tamer's whip is Leo. So you've got Virgo and Leo here, just like we had in the other picture. And you also have the sun. The sun is in the middle of Virgo. So you could say, just as you saw in the picture, that the sun here is clothing Virgo. Likewise, you see at the foot, because this is upside down, and I'll show you here on the side how I know this, at the foot, which is upside down, you see the moon. And so she is standing on the moon, and above her head, this being Virgo, above her head are 12 stars. And you don't see the 12 stars yet, but you're going to in just a moment. You see 4 stars, but let us go over here to what is in the stars, what is in the constellation Leo. The Leo constellation is formed by 9 stars. The major star that we know of is Regulus. So Regulus, you can see right here, is REG. Let's go back to this chart. Regulus is the main star in the constellation Leo. We also see 3 other stars. Now, to the ancients, the planets were known as wandering stars. They wander across a celestial equator, you can think of it that way, the ecliptic. So we see here this first star, from the ancients' perspective, is Mercury. It has the 2 little horns. You have Venus, which you're probably more familiar of, Regulus, and a conjunct with Regulus is Jupiter. This is the symbol for Jupiter. Over here you have Mars, but we're going to come to that in a minute. So, telling this story, let us look over here at these numbers. These numbers are referred to as declination. I'm going to circle all of these. You can see that the declination of the moon is low at -3. The sun is at 5, so it is above the moon, just as the Bible says here. The sun was in the middle, it was clothing her. The moon was under her feet, and above her were the 12 stars. So what do we see on the 12 stars? We see Mercury is not at 5, it's at 10. Venus is at 12. Jupiter is at 20. And Regulus is at 20. Now, understood is the Star of Bethlehem. The Bible says that the wise men said, "We saw your star in the east, and we have come to worship him." And so they brought him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. The star that they were most likely seeing was the conjunction of Jupiter and Regulus, because sitting upon each other, which you can see here, their elevation, they are at the same location, 123 degrees, 124 degrees. They're within half of a degree of each other, so they're very close. So you can also see here that their declination, or how high they are in the sky, is at 20.72 and 20.26. So they are nearly on top of each other. This would be a very likely candidate for what the Star of Bethlehem is. Some other thing that we can tell here is that If we read this as a story, let's read it from the beginning. The woman was clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, a crown of 12 stars. But let's read this as the ancients understood these. Here's the sun, here's the moon. We've already established that. Here's Leo, and here's Virgo. But what do these planets, what was the characteristics that the ancients would understand of these planets? Well, Mercury, Mercurius, is considered to be the beginning of things. It is the starting planet, it is the beginning. Venus is considered to be beauty and perfection. Regulus is the king star. It is referred to as the king star. And Jupiter is referred to as the god star. So let us read this in order as it is shown. The beginning of perfection, a conjunction of the king star and the god star, in the constellation Leo the Lion, brought forth from the constellation Virgo the Virgin. But there is a little bit more here. So we know that there is another celebration, and that celebration is called Christmas, and it is on December 25th. And we know that December 25th is commonly understood not to be the birth of Jesus. It is merely the celebration of the birth of Jesus. It is actually a pagan festival, here called Saturnalia, which is to the Romans a festival where you give gifts and drink too much and eat too much and have a party. And it goes in Babylon, it's something different, and in let's see if we have another one here. We could look up Yuletide, so let me look up Yule. And we see that Yule is the same winter festival of Christmas. And what do you do here? You have the evergreen trees, etc. So you have all of the pagan festivities around December 25th because of this winter solstice, which is December 21st. And so the celebration that the ancient pagans knew was of the winter solstice. It is well understood that the Christian church of that day, the Roman Catholic Church, appropriated the pagan festivals, and they took those pagan festivals and they put Christianity basically on top of it and tried to put Christianity in sync with the pagan festivals in hopes of converting the pagans to Christianity. So they made it more acceptable. But the actual feast is not Christian at all, nor is it actually the birth of Jesus. It is the birth, actually, of the sun god. And if you go through history, you will find the gods that are opposed to Jesus. They are generally finding their genesis, their beginning, at the point around December 21st. So when you keep this in mind, you may have heard the phrase, keep Christ in Christmas. It is a common refrain of people who believe that Christmas should not become a pagan or secular holiday. But if you understand what you're reading, you would discover that Christ has never been in Christmas. So keeping him in Christmas, he's never been there in the first place. Likewise, there is a song from the Enlightenment that is referred to as O come, Emmanuel. And most people know that Emmanuel means God is with us. And I would encourage you, if you have not but look at the other video that I have, which is the video about who is the Antichrist. I would encourage you to look at that video. You'll find it very interesting now having this information. But O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel who mourns in lonely exile. And you can do that until the Son of God appears. When I read this, I can't help but thinking that in this song, Emmanuel and the Son of God are actually opposed to each other. Other verses, if you read through this, will give you a different take, perhaps, on the hymn, O come, Emmanuel. But people know that at Christmas they call Jesus the Prince of Peace. But what they do not realize is that Jesus, in his own words, said in Matthew 10:34, think not that I am come to bring peace or send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. And if we look at the rest of the context, whoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father in heaven. I am not come to send peace, but a sword. I am come to set a man at odds with his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's foes shall be those of his own household, because whoever loves father and mother more than me is not worthy of me. And so Jesus is saying, you have to make choices. That does not mean you can't love your mother and your father. It just means that those who love the world, and that's what he's referring to here, the world more than him, are not worthy of him, and he will deny them in heaven. So, a sword Interestingly enough, let us go back to astrologue, because we have this reference likewise in the sky. This first coming of Jesus was not for peace. He will eventually bring peace to the earth. But in his first coming, he is not bringing peace. He came to bring a sword. And what do we see here at this connection? We see Mars. And what do we see at Mars? We see Mars in a connection with the birth of Jesus. Think not that I am come to bring peace, but to bring a sword. And as we are mostly all familiar, Mars is considered to be the bringer of war. So Jesus, in the telling of this story that is written in the sky, has done this. When you read this, Virgo, with the sun and the moon, the beginning of perfection, the conjunction of the gods and the star, the king star and the god star, he came to not bring peace, but to bring a sword. And you have Mars, the bringer of war. But you also have another interesting thing here in Revelation 12. And this is quite astonishing. Revelation 12, chapter 12, verse 1. Look at the time when these things appear right here. I have to move it because I've now scribbled over it. 12:01 a.m. in Bethlehem. Revelation 12, verse 1. And you see this whole story unfold in the sky, just as the Bible said, a woman clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Let's go back to just a few simple things. At Christmas, people think of peace on earth. One of the most famous songs is O Come, Emmanuel. When we read the different translations of O Come, Emmanuel, it says here, redeem thy captive Israel. O come, Emmanuel, and redeem thy captive Israel. So Israel is captive. And do so far from the face of God's dear Son. Does it not sound like Emmanuel and God's dear Son are opposed to each other? But we're not done. Draw nigh, thou Orient, who shall cheer, and comfort by thine advent. Let's see here. Banish far the brooding gloom of sinful night and endless doom. Okay. There's many ways you could take that, but let's continue. O come, thou wisdom from on high. That makes sense. And order all things far and nigh. To us the path of knowledge show, and cause us in her ways to go. Knowledge. It was the tree of knowledge and the tree of life. Which was the good tree? Was the good tree the tree of knowledge, or was the good tree the tree of life? The tree of knowledge was the bad tree. Rejoice. Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, desire of nations, bind all peoples in one heart and mind. In the Old Testament, when the people were of one heart and mind, God confounded their languages. Let's look here at Genesis 11:6. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined. So God said, let us go down, confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. The Lord scattered them from abroad. They left off to build the city. Therefore, the name of it is called Babel, because therefore the Lord did confound the language of all the earth. And he scattered them abroad. He did not want all of the people united in one language as one people, because they would only imagine to do evil things. So, at the Tower of Babel, bid envy, strife, and quarrels cease. Does that sound like what Jesus said here in Matthew? I'm not come to send peace, I'm come to send a sword. Let us go back. Fill the whole world with heaven's peace. And bid our quarrels to cease. Interestingly enough, this is a common understanding, and this is the thoughts of the Enlightenment, that are telling not of Jesus of the Bible, but they see Jesus of the Bible as opposed to Emmanuel, their actual Redeemer, who is coming to unite the world. And so I'm going to give you this thought. When it comes to Christmas, and when it comes to an understanding of September the 11th, what seems to be the real birth of Jesus, the Jesus of the Bible, the real Jesus. Christmas is this fanciful peace on earth that is a combination of pagan festivities, Babylonian traditions, and all of the rest, and you are certainly welcome to celebrate it. People struggle to say, keep Christ in Christmas, but he's never been there to begin with. The real celebration of what the world thinks of Jesus happened on September 11th. And the violence that occurred there is what the world thinks of Jesus. Jesus is the real Prince of Peace, but he did not come the first time as the Prince of Peace. So when you think about the real birth of Jesus, there is reality and there is fiction. But with that fiction, right here, it is far from the face of God's dear Son. So, you are entitled to the beliefs that you have, but I hope that you have found this informative, because when you have a dear friend, like it says right here, I'm so sorry I forgot your special day. And if you consider yourself a friend of God, it would be best to celebrate his birthday, if you are going to celebrate it, on his birthday, and not to celebrate someone who is opposed to Jesus. Best wishes to you, and I hope you found this informative.